Hello, 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 and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new here. Glad to have you. We like to talk about books, and today we have a doozy of a video for you. I have 25 books that we're going to be going through in this winter wrap-up. So, what do you say? You want to talk about books? Let's talk about books. Now, first things first, if we're going to talk about 25 books, it's going to take some time. So make sure you grab yourself a little snack, a little bevy, a little drinky poo, crack that open because we're going to get winded. It's going to get intense up in here. Right. Today we got the new lime slush Alani. This is going to be my first time trying this, so let's give it a try. Pretty solid. I've heard that it tastes like key lime pie. It has a little bit of a creamy flavor to it, and that I think is the only way I'm going to really like this, or if it tastes like a Sprite. If it's too like lime slushy, I don't know. Okay. It does have a little bit of a cream flavor. Yep, okay, that'll do that'll do it. That is what we need. So it is time yet again for another season wrap up. We are going to tackle what I read in the past 3 months, the winter months, if you will. March 20th technically starts spring, and that is when I am recording this. So, gorge, what better time to start? I will say we are only going to do the second half of November, because if you remember in the fall wrap, I kind of had to like split things a little bit more different than I wanted to, but that's fine. So we're going to catch the end of November. We're going to do December, January, February, because to me, those really are winter months. March, April, May, that's spring. June, July, August, summer, you know the drill, right? Perfect. So that means that we have a couple books from November we're going to start with, and then we'll head into the deep winter months and do some Christmas recap, things like that. So 25 books, let's get started. Let's head back to November and finish that up. We left off with Tonight the Streets Are Ours. That one, we're not even going to talk about it because it was not great, but that's fine because right after that, we got, that tower is going to fall. I have no doubt. Okay. The next book we read after that was an absolute 5-star, phenomenal. It is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I just don't know why I waited so long to read this, because Taylor Jenkins Reid can do no wrong. I would read her grocery lists. I would read anything that she wants to give me. I will take openly and appreciative, and amazing. This was such a phenomenal book. If you have not read this, be prepared to cry. I did cry. But it was phenomenal. Basically, Joan wants to be an astronaut, and this would be around the time where women weren't really astronauts. The first female astronaut had just gone into space, and she is basically the next round, is how that kind of plays out. And it's just about her dealing with those dynamics and kind of figuring out who she is. But she's also a character that is very set in herself, and that's really nice to see. So it's just incredibly uplifting, but it's also incredibly sad. Right off the bat, we're like, okay. And then you kind of go, it's a dual timeline kind of thing, and it's just gorgeous, fantastic. After that, we kept trucking with another 5-star. This is the third book in the Lakefront Billionaires series by Lauren Asher. It is Love Arranged. Lily, Lorenzo, I love them so much. I honestly probably think I should go back to Love Redesigned, the first book, because I think I only gave that 4 stars for yeah, that one. Delia. Yep. And Delia and Julian. Yes. I have loved every single book in this series. These were all absolutely 5-star reads for me. So I think I need to bump up the other one. That's the first one. The second one, Love Unwritten. That's Ellie and Raph, and I love them so much. Raphael, fantastic. Lily and Lorenzo, another just amazing couple. This is fake dating. They met on an app, which is super fun considering I met my husband on an app. It's just absolutely 5-star read. And then last for the month of November, very end of the month, I capped things off with a Christmas read with Good Spirits and another 5 stars. Nolan and Harriet. Nolan is the ghost of Christmas Past. And at first, when I first picked this up, I was like, okay, Ghost Christmas Past, make him hot. Oh no, he's hot! I'm here for it, but this is going to be a nothing book. I was wrong. I take back my words. I was wrong. This sweet boy, I loved Nolan so much. He's the perfect definition of a little gruff around the edges, but like still such a golden boy. I loved him. So he's the ghost of Christmas past. He gets sent to Harriet for the holiday season as his like project that he's supposed to figure out what's wrong with her and right all of the wrongs in their life. You know the drill. The only problem is that Harriet is a little ray of sunshine and she has never done anything wrong in her whole entire life. I fully believe this. And, you know, from there they have to figure out what's going on, and then some chaos ensues, and we love it so much. This was so, so good. The next one just got announced. It's Grim Tidings. I was so excited for these. I love B.K. Borison. Love it. Fantastic. Amazing. 5 stars. Now let's switch gears and head into December for some reads, starting with Project Hail Mary. I wanted to read this as soon as I saw the trailer and like knew that it was going to be a movie. It had been on my radar for like a while, but seeing the trailer, I was like, okay, we need to get this read. I need to get this read. This needs to happen. We need to like figure out what it's all about. I recommend the audiobook to everyone. My husband read the physical book. My friend Austin on the podcast, he read the physical book. I think the podcast is not the podcast. I think the audiobook is 100% where it's at here. This was fantastic. I will say me and the ending of this book had some beef. I'll just put it that way. But overall, I gave this a 4-star, and I do think if I read it again, like maybe after the movie, I'd like to do a reread, and I could see it becoming a 5-star book for me. The problem is that not the first, but like the thing on the back, it literally says, and with the clock ticking down and the nearest human being light years away, he's got to do it all alone. Spoiler, he's not alone. That's the whole freaking thing. This was still a 4-star. I still loved it, but there were some parts that I definitely butted heads with. Things continued to kind of tick down a little bit from Project Hail Mary. We read Holiday Ever After by Hannah Grace, and like with as much as I loved the Maple Hills series, I was anticipating to absolutely devour this book. And the problem is it just never really kind of got going enough for me. I really liked Jack, but Clara kind of bothered me throughout the entire book. And then there were parts of Jack that I was like, okay, come on, bud. Like, now we're just being petty. And with as much as I love Hannah Grace's writing, I think I just anticipated so much more for this that we gave this a 3-star. The whole premise of this is that Clara comes to town, this little town, to hopefully like fix a relationship with her and the toy maker of a doll in her family that her family's toy company basically stole, and she has to do PR and like fix it because she's the daughter of the owner. And the guy that actually made the doll is like, I don't want anything to do with you. So it goes from there, and it would be a cute premise for, you know, Christmas, holiday, toys, you know, whatever. There was something that just felt a little off for me. I'll Be Home for Christmas came next, Jenny Bayliss. This is, I love Jenny Bayliss's Christmas books. These are perfect. She writes a new one every year, and I look forward to it. I pre-order it. I got the ARC for this. I got the ARC on NetGalley. I was gonna read it early, but the problem is like I couldn't read it in September. I couldn't read it by the time the book came out, because to me, this needs to be read in December by the Christmas tree. And she does it yet again. 4 stars. 4 stars for this book. It's so chock full of like quirky holiday, like wonderful little like Christmas spirit, and like family that comes together, and women that just have these wonderful relationships. And like I love the main character Fred, and who's the guy in this? Ryan. It's like a reconnected best friends to lovers kind of thing, and I loved Ryan. He was so fun and goofy, and one of those just like he's what you want in a Christmas book. Like, it was just wonderful to see a Christmas book, especially, that just had so much support coming from everywhere. There wasn't any of this like bah humbug. It was just a fun, wonderful Christmas book. 4 stars. And then, believe it or not, we actually had another 5-star Christmas book. I got to read Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh. This is the first in I think a 3-book series, and I've heard that it kind of goes downhill, but I'm still going to be reading them because this was so good. It literally felt like a 90s rom-com, and especially with like the airport atmosphere and everything. Like, I love a travel book. Yeah, we will get to it here in a second, but I read People Were Even on Vacation, where they're like going back and forth. The other really fun thing about this was that it did have a flashback. It was dual timeline. And so we get like the years leading up to this year. But the fun thing that this book did is those flashbacks kind of were used as a way to get a little bit more of Andrew's perspective. They weren't from his POV exactly, but they just kind of like gave you that sense of what was going on a little bit more. And I thought that was like the funnest way to do that. That was the most fun way to do that. I thought it was just adorable, the way that you kind of got to see him fall for her in the flashbacks while she's kind of realizing what's going on. It was absolutely adorable. And of course, every side character in this book was iconic, amazing. We loved a side character so much. It just, yep, another 5-star Christmas book. We love it so much. Unfortunately, after that, we did catch our first 1-star. This was a really fun concept. And that's about it. So this is a advent calendar book. What you do on December 1st, you rip open the little, like, you can see there's like perforated pages kind of. You can see where some didn't rip completely straight and whatnot. So you rip a chapter open for each day, and then you end on Christmas. Great. The problem is that the book sucks. It's not good. The problem is that the main character is almost 19. A fact that she said, if you were to make every time she says, I'm almost 19 a drinking game, you'd be done. You'd be on the floor. Don't touch the eggnog. Like, she says it so much that then the entire plot is her fighting with her parents like a 13-year-old. That I'm like, are you almost 19? Because you're not acting like it. Let's knock it off. The other problem is that I know nothing about the male main character. I know nothing about him other than he was her brother's best friend. No, her best friend's brother. And I know he skis because everybody in the book skis because it's a winter book. I don't know. I've already talked about this book for too long. It's making me mad. Like, this was not a good book. And for it being Christmas was such a fun concept, I expected more. I did not get more. Thankfully, to wrap up December, we got one more really good Christmas book in. It's The Bright Side of Christmas by Morgan Elizabeth. I love a lot of her writing so much. And this was yet another wonderful book. Basically, I kept picturing him as a country singer. I don't think he is. I never really because he did a Christmas song. So I don't think he's a country singer. But singer moves to small town to get away from it all. Doesn't want anything to do with Christmas. Grumpy dude. Moves next door to small town's overworked little ray of sunshine who loves Christmas with all of her heart and does everything for everybody without anything in return. And from there they have this wonderful, cute little bantery back and forth Christmas war. I loved Adam. I loved his little grumpy. He wasn't even grumpy for everybody but her, because he was still kind of grumpy towards her, but not in a mean way. He just kind of was closed off, I guess, and I loved it so much. It was the perfect end of the Christmas season. Was fantastic. I think there are going to be spinoffs, because I think I did see that this is now the first in at least one more, and thank goodness, because I loved all of the side characters so much, and there were enough that could set off some really cute spinoffs. So I'm ready for that come the holiday season. Then to start things off for the beginning of the year in January, I wanted to do a reread of People We Meet on Vacation before the movie came out, obviously. And as per usual, I read this back in 2022, gave it 5 stars. Now this is a unique thing though, because this book and me have kind of a weird history. I have read all but a few. I know exactly which Emily Henry books that I have read. I have read People We Meet on Vacation, Book Lovers, Beach Read. I think those 3, that's it. I have the other 2. I'm waiting for Great Big Beautiful Life to come out on paperback. I have kind of a routine with things, right? But for some reason, year after year, when I go through and look at my Kindle, because I think I have it on my Kindle or my Nook, either one. I have it as an ebook. And then for the longest time, this was sitting on my TBR shelves, and I was like, but I'm pretty sure I've read this. And then I would go on Goodreads and it would say read 5 stars. And I was like, okay, cool, but I don't remember anything about this. So I'd open up the first page and I'd read Poppy and Alex and I'd be like, oh, duh, okay, yes, I know what this is. So getting to actually come back to this book and really reread it was just absolutely fun. It was so fun. This is a 5-star book. I knew it the first time I read it, even though it kind of just out of my brain. And it's a 5-star again. And this time it is going to be taking up more brain space because I still think about Poppy and Alex frequently. But the thing is Poppy and Alex meet in college, opposites attract kind of vibes, and we get to see flashbacks of trips that they do while they're trying to reconnect and come back together. Yes, I love this. I love it. And I love the fact that, like, so I'm usually a big fan of dual POV. I really like to see something from both characters. But I love the way that we don't really need Alex's POV because he is so direct and clear with things that, like, he's not going to do something he doesn't want to do. So if he's doing it, you know it's because he wants to and because there's feeling there. And, like, Poppy, I feel like is so much more chaotic on things that I'm glad we have her POV because she's the one that, like, you need that kind of internal monologue from. And so I absolutely adored this. I think that, like, Emily Henry's writing is one of those things that she puts a really simple plot. Like this, there is not a whole lot to this, right? But she does something so gorgeous and in-depth with very little. And I think that's really, really beautiful and really hard to do. I don't need characters that are overly complex just for the sake of being complex if they're as well written as these ones are. Both characters are, like, deep enough to relate to and make them not seem like surface level, but they don't have these big, huge, tragic backstories that, like, we feel like if you don't dive into it enough, then you're not giving it the, like, respect that it deserves. But if you dive into it too much, then it's not a romance anymore. And, like, this weird in between that I feel like a lot of books tend to, like, balance between. These are just people. These are just people. They are two friends that met in college that are reconnecting. And it's gorgeous. The way Emily Henry writes about travel is exactly how I feel about it. It is just this most gorgeous way that, like, hits home so personally for me as somebody who loves to travel. And the way she writes about how home feels like. Home is a feeling, it's not a place, it's a person. It can be a person, it can be a place, but it can also just be a feeling. And Emily Henry puts into words so gorgeous. This is just, will always be a 5-star. And I am glad that we're heading into spring and summer because I need more Emily Henry in my life. So for this next book, we need to have a little bit of a discussion. On my channel, I tend to call books in that, like, 3-star range a nothing book. And I just want to, like, make it known that to me, a nothing book is not a bad book. It's a thoroughly enjoyable book. When I call something a nothing book, it just means that it's a book that, like, I probably will not think about again. That I enjoyed reading while I was reading it. I really enjoyed whatever it was about it. I enjoyed the characters. There was nothing objectively wrong about the book. So it usually gets like a 3.5 star, not quite a 4-star, but it's definitely not going bump down any lower than a 3. But then, like, after I close the book and step away from it, I'm just not going to think about it again. And that's totally fine. I love a book like that. I just call them nothing books because, like, they're kind of like filler. So, not a bad thing. But this next book is a nothing book. It's called Unlikely Story by Ali Rosen, and it was cute. Gave it a 3.5. I rounded it down, but I do think a 3.5 is, like, pretty solid for me because I was kind of wishy-washy on it, and I really haven't thought of it much since. So I think a 3.5 is pretty good for that, rounded down. Because, you know, Goodreads. We just got a DNF shelf on Goodreads. Can we not get half stars? Anyway, this book follows Nora and Eli. Nora lives in New York and has lived there forever in this apartment with this huge fun cast of characters because obviously you get all the residents from the apartment and it's fantastic. Eli moves into the apartment below her, but he owns the garden space above her because she's in the top unit. And so chaos kind of ensues because she likes things a certain way and he comes in and is very, like, loud and reckless and just happy and, like, sunshine and whatever. And she's a lot more like, But the other problem is that she has a crush on her editor that lives in London whose name is Jay. Yeah, I think we know where we're going from there. Or do you? This one did have a really fun twist in it that I'm not going to give away. But it is very opposite attract, but not really, because kind of it's the same, and, like, very fun storyline. 3.5, like I said, like, it's not one that I'm going to think about after this, and I just don't. So, fantastic, cute little book, thoroughly enjoyed it, but cool. After that, we picked up Cash, Cowboy Romance, start of a new series for me. This is the Lucky River Ranch series, and once you read the book, that name makes so much more sense, and it's very, very cute. But Cash is the first book. It is Grumpy Sunshine. He is the foreman on a ranch that the female main character inherits and has to stay at for a certain amount of time so she can keep the ranch. And the fun thing is though, is like Molly is a city girl that makes cowboy boots. So she's always kind of had that like tie to her roots, which I think is really fun. This was a 3.5 that I did round up to a 4. I think it could have been a 4-star, except here's my beef. And if you want no spoilers of this, like spoiler, skip ahead a little bit. Here's the problem. I get really tired of, it feels like every epilogue of a, like, not every, but I feel like there are too many epilogues in which they're pregnant. We skip over the wedding. We skip over the engagement. We skip over so much. And it goes from them finally getting together, being happy together, to then her being pregnant. I want the wedding. Give me the wedding. Give me the engagement. Give me something like that in an epilogue. I don't need the end result as kids. I know. Give me more cute weddings. More cute weddings, please. And all of that in general. I don't know why the epilogues always are people getting pregnant. I will say the other thing about this is Molly being so city, making cowboy boots did take a little bit to grow on me. Cash though, loved Cash right off the bat. Yeah. And like, I love that we did see her really open up and grow and like enjoy ranch life and stuff. And like, I understand that it was like a slow burn kind of romance, but like the slow burn was slow. And it was slow enough that then I didn't really care for Molly until I want to say well over halfway into the book. So I am excited to continue reading these. And I think we get Wyatt's story next. I don't remember if it's Wyatt or Sawyer next, but either way, the rest of these brothers, I cannot wait. I'm so excited for them. Then I always try to read more fantasy in the winter, and I'll be honest, I kind of did not a good job at that this winter at all. But we did pick up The Night and the Moth. The next time I say I'm going to pick up a fantasy that has the next book coming out, but not for like months, tell me to put it down. Tell me to put it down and walk away, because this was a 5-star book that I am still thinking about, and yet the second one doesn't come out for like months still. I think it comes out in like August or September. Why? No, this was so good. I loved this. Loved it. Absolutely devoured it. Such a good book. This was one of those 5-star reads where like after reading it, I had to just kind of stare at a wall, which was a problem because I read it for my 24-hour reading challenge. But I did. I had to pause the timer and just stare at a wall for a while because the ending was so like, what is going on? Sybil is the main character here. She is a diviner. So basically she can see people's like futures, I guess, kind of, but it's more like good or bad auras. It's not exactly like what happens to them. And she ends up meeting a knight, Roderick, who doesn't like really believe in the whole diviner thing. And it kind of is just a journey book from there. But Sybil is such a strong character. She's so strong, and I can't wait to really see her. You already see her kind of come out of her shell and like figure out who she is. But I feel like we just scratched the surface on really who she could be. And so I'm really excited for book 2 to really see that. And like Roderick, I think this is intended to be a fantasy first and a romantasy second. Because like there's definitely a relationship forming there that I'm really excited to dive into in the second book. But you don't get a whole lot of it. And I really want to see Roderick flourish more and like grow and just like come into his character and really like step up. And I think we're going to see that a lot more in the second book. So absolutely fantastic. I just would honestly wait to pick this up until September when we get book 2. Just read them back to back. I hope it's only a duology, honestly. I don't know that she has announced if it's going to be a duology or more or not or what. I kind of hope it's only a duology just because I like the duology. I don't love having to read like 6 or 7 books to finish a whole series, you know. But fantastic, 5 stars. And because apparently I thought that continuing to read books that were going to make me cry and literally emotionally destroy me during a 24-hour reading challenge was a smart idea, we read The Nightingale. I can't think about this book very long without wanting to cry. Still, I read it in January. It's March. This was one of those books that literally through most of it. I was pretty like meh on it. I was kind of a little bit like, I could see why this would be for some people. It's probably just not for me. Historical fiction, probably just not really my genre, right? And then we got to like the last, not even 10%, less than 10% of this. Oh boy, was I wrong. All of these little pieces that kind of fell flat started to come together. All of these little things that I had questioned come together, and I just, I understand it. I understand the hype. Apparently, The Women is the next one I need to read, but we're gonna have to like, this is gonna be a once a year thing. Once a year, we pick up a Kristen Hanna book because that's the only thing that I'm gonna be able to handle. I can't think about it. Nope. Bye-bye. After that, I needed something that I knew was just gonna be kind of a good time. And that is exactly what the Hawthorne Legacy is. Now, I will be very honest. I have heard wonderful things about the Hawthorne, the Inheritance Games like series and stuff. And I really want to read her other series, The Naturals, I think is what it is. But I will say these kind of end up falling a little bit flat for me. These are YA and they read as YA, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but that does prevent them from being a 5-star for me because there is just enough that feel like I really want us to like double click on this. I really want us to dive in here, and we just don't. And I think that's because it's a YA, because we kind of tend to stick things a little bit more surface level here, where if this was an adult novel, we could really dive into some of the more emotional, deeper stuff. And that's not a bad thing. I gave this one and the first one 3.5, rounded up to a 4-star though. So I mean, like, I did really enjoy these books. I think they're great, but I can understand why people kind of go back and forth on them. This one was exactly what I wanted it to be, in that it wrapped up and explained a lot of the first book, because the first book to me was very much an explainer book. It didn't have a whole lot of anything else other than here's where we're going. Great. Book 2 tells us where we're at. Thank goodness. Book 3 better start wrapping some stuff up. Otherwise, a lot of the like clues and things are just kind of going to get repetitive and boring. So it's interesting to not have an opinion really set on this until like book 3, but I do think that's going to be really the deciding factor of when and how much we get out of this series. Up next, Wise as that one. This is a nonfiction. This is a self-help. So we know we give it 5 stars, but we don't really review it. I'm just trying to read some nonfiction. Then up next, I have been trying to use Libby more. One of my goals to use my library, use Libby more. And so on there, I had requested, and we're reading through the When in Rome, the Rome, Kentucky, there's four now. So as soon as When in Rome, the first book came available, I was able to read that, and I did. And When in Rome, it's by Sarah Adams. It's cute. It's small town romances with 4 siblings, a brother and 3 sisters. The first one follows the brother and a pop star that ends up in this small town when trying to like recreate the Roman holiday by Audrey Hepburn. Cute premise. But the first book I gave 3 stars, and like looking back, it probably is close to like a 3.5 rounded up to a 4. But I think that's only because I've seen so much of them now from the other books. Because like in When in Rome, the first book, Amelia kind of annoyed me right away. She was a little bit too flighty about things, and like if we hadn't gotten Noah's POV, I would not have liked Noah. He was too much. He was too much about things. And so by the end, obviously I really enjoyed it. And I think that's why like the book itself, I'm still giving a 3, but I do think that seeing them in the rest of the books is what could make this one bump up to like a 3.5. Either way, very cute series. I am loving reading them. I wish I could just devour them, but I have told myself that I'm getting them through the library. So we're going to keep them through the library, and we're doing great with that. This next one, honestly, I probably should just bump down to a 1 star. I really didn't like it that much. It is Right Man, Right Time by Megan Quinn. And that's really disappointing because this is the first Megan Quinn that I have read. And like, I have more that I'd like to read from her. So I'm like, I probably will give her another chance. I probably will. But this one did not hit. Now, to be fair, it is the 3rd book in an interconnected standalone that I did not read the first 2. I'm not going to read the rest of these. It's a hockey romance. Age gap. He's like 30ish and she's 21, so I mean not overly so, but they kind of make it a big deal, more than like it needed to be. They like emphasize that she's still in the dorms, which like, okay, it's on campus housing. I don't know. And like, I don't know how I would feel bringing a 30-year-old to the dorms. Like, that feels kind of weird too, especially when like he does have a house. And so the whole thing just kind of felt really forced. And like, I love the fact that she's a journalist. Like, you know, that hits the mark there. But then the way that she like, it was all the story and like the whole, that side of the plot was really not handled well for me. And it just, it just felt very pick me. I didn't like it. Yeah, I gave it 2 stars. I probably should bump it down to 1. Then we got back to When in Rome with the second book, Practice Makes Perfect, though. And this one I'm going to have to bump up because I gave it a 3.5 rounded down because I did like it better than the first book, but this deserves 4 stars. Annie and Will are my favorite couple so far. I have not read the last one yet. I'm on the 3rd one. They're my favorite couple. And I have a feeling that's going to stay the way because every time I see them now in the 3rd book, they just make me smile so much. I love them. Annie is just this like reserved, like she does like flowers and she just is like this sweetest little like, she's just a little baby and I love her. And there's something so sweet and special and like sentimental about her. Will is Amelia's old bodyguard and like, so he's in the town off and on and stuff and he's this tatted baddie and everything, but he's also like just so, they're just sweet. Like there's no other way to put them than just they're sweet. They're sweet to each other and he brings out this like wonderful like open true side to her that she doesn't have to like hide who she is or like be anything less than herself. And like she kind of like eggs him on and like, I love this couple. I love this couple so much. It's absolutely wonderful. It's like he's the type that doesn't believe in love. She's like absolutely loves love and everything. And so sometimes that trope can kind of fall flat to me, but this one, it didn't. It was done so well and handled spectacularly that I just, absolutely, fantastic. Fantastic. This one I think was not fake dating, but like dating practice. That's what it was. Very cute. And then I finally finished, because I don't even want to think about how long this took me, but I finally finished Spare by Prince Harry, narrated by him. I listened to it as memoir. 5 stars. It is a memoir. We don't rate them 5 stars. I say we don't rate them and then I rate them 5 stars. We rate them 5 stars because anything that is like nonfiction either gets a 0 star or a 5 star. I don't do like a rating system for them because in my opinion, if you have the like story, ability, knowledge to write a nonfiction book, whether it's the courage to write about yourself or the like intellect to write about something else, it's either a really bad book and you really should have thought about what you were doing, or it's a really good book because like that's just incredible. So 0 stars, 5 stars, this was 5 star. And then I told myself I was going to finish the Windy City series before In Her Own League came out, so we needed to get started with Play Along, and this obviously 5 stars. Obviously 5 stars. I love Isaiah Rhodes so much. Kai and Miller are my favorite. Let's get that out of the way now. Kai and Miller, favorite. But Isaiah, I think Isaiah might be my favorite guy. I do love Kennedy, don't get me wrong, but like, this was good. This was so good. Marriage of Convenience, but like Vegas one night, like not one night stand, but like married in Vegas, woke up, holy crap, we're married, but like, hey, this could work out for us. Yeah. Boy obsessed, has been obsessed since the day she walked in. Amazing. Then we kept with the sports theme because I got an arc of First and Forever by Lynn Painter. This is an adult novel by her, and she can do no wrong. There is absolutely nothing that Lynn Painter can write that I'm not going to just devour. Oh, this is a 4.5. 4.5. I did round down for the sake of Goodreads just because I really struggle to give a book 5 stars unless it is 5 stars. But like, there's so much about this. Like, the only reason it didn't get a 5 star for me is because the third act, kind of like breakup, conflict, whatever, felt kind of rushed. But the rest of it was so cute. Okay, so Duffy is our female main character, and she is a huge fan of the NFL team that are the Coyotes. This takes place in Minnesota. I don't know why it's not the Vikings. They didn't even make the team purple because they also talk about the Twins in the wild. That's a whole separate thing. But having all the Minnesota references was so fun, especially for sports. That's probably why I like this even more, to be honest. But Duffy is like #1 fan, right? The mascot, the coyote, Carl, I think is his name, pretty sure, cops a little field while he's partying it up, and she just, just turns around and knocks him down. And so she gets a whole lot of bad press for this. And Connor, who is like, I don't think he's the quarterback, but he's like the running back or something on the team. One of the big MVPs, the new rookie kid, the hot shot, the whatever. He is the only one that's like, maybe the mascot deserved it, man. And so they end up on a talk show together, and things kind of go from there. Well, then it ends up being like dating of convenience kind of thing, like, because it would make Duffy look a lot better, and she could show up to games again if she was dating him, and he gets a lot of really good PR for like taking care of the fan. It's kind of a weird, like, whatever, how they get into it. I don't care. It was very cute because it's all so genuine right from the bat that, like, I like when fake dating, you can tell, is just real from the beginning. The fakeness of it is just a technicality, right? Love it. And I think that's also why the third act, like, conflict felt so forced, because it's like the fake dating aspect never really felt fake. So yeah, very cute. Okay, we got 3 books left. Wrapping them up. Second Chance Cinema by Thea Weiss. This was my book of the club. Yeah, no, this was my book of the month club pick. And I wanted to like this a lot more than I did. I ended up giving it 2 stars because the thing is like, if you could watch a movie that would play moments from your life that it deemed important, not you did, that it deemed important, you had to watch them in a certain order. You watched them with your significant other so they saw things that this movie selected. Would you do it? It sounds like this really cool premise because both our male and female main character have stuff that they've hidden. But I think it felt too disjointed between their like regular day-to-day life that you get a glimpse of versus the magical realism elements of these movies. There was just a lot of like flowing issues. It just felt very disconnected in spots. So I did give it a 2-star. I would like to read something else by this author, and I hope they continue to write magical realism because I think they could really get there. But this was just not, it didn't hit quite like I was really hoping it would. But this on the other hand, and now back to you, Came, I read it in 2 days. I would have read it in a whole day, but I was trying to like be good and savor it a little bit. And this I gave a 4-star because, and now back to, and First Time Caller is a 5-star. So like Jackson and Delilah are like second to Aiden and Lucy. I love Aiden and Lucy. These two, it kind of felt a little like, now we're in love. And so like, that was my only issue with that. But the thing is that these characters pair so well together that I really didn't mind. I love BK Borison. Oh, I love her. So yeah, we devoured this for 4.5 stars, easy. And last but not least, like I said, we were finishing Windy City, and we did rewind it back. This is Rio's story with Hallie, and I sobbed the way that I sobbed at the end of this book. Not even just like, yes, it was because we were finishing the Windy City series, and I love this series so much, but I just love Rio, and I'm so happy that he's happy now. And like, I know a lot of people had beef with this book because you didn't get as much of that like goofy, kind of chaotic Rio, but I think you saw a lot of moments in Play Along that led up to him being a more serious character. And so like, I thought this still flowed so wonderfully, like absolutely 5, 6, 7-star book for me, because like, I liked seeing the more serious side, because countering with Hallie, I think if you would have had him be too chaotic and like whatever still, I don't think she would have been able to trust him again. And so like, making him a little bit more serious gave her the opportunity to trust him, and I just, this is another one that what a fantastic way to wrap up this. There you have it, 25 books for the last like 3.5 months. I don't know how many I've read so far in March, so I guess we will see how many we get in the next 3 months. I like doing these seasonally, I think, but let me know if you'd rather me do them month over month, or like, I'm not doing twice a year. We would have way too many. But if we want to see one like tied in with the TBR of a full what I did, let me know. Otherwise, I think I'm just going to keep them seasonally. I kind of like the seasonal aspect. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, ring the little bell, do all the little things. We're trying for once a week. We're trying. We're getting there. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you watched this far into the video, let's comment a baseball for baseball romances. Or let's do any sport emoji. Any sport emoji, because we read some great sports romances. Cool? Cool. Thank you so much, and make sure you like, subscribe, comment, do all the things so you don't miss a video, and I will catch you next time. Bye.